Hey everybody, I'm here today to show you and tell you about my basement storage room flooding. I'm going to be telling you here's what happened. So that's right, my basement storage room flooded, and here's what happened. So first off, I'll tell you what I was doing that caused the minor flood. It was a very, very minor flood and a minor amount of water damage that we repaired, and I'll tell you why it happened and how I actually benefited from this, how myself and the house and my family, we live in this house, we own this house, how we benefited from it. So first and foremost, how did the flood occur? Well, essentially, this is the back of the house right here, okay? And that's like the utility room, like the furnace room, water heater, blah, blah, blah. So essentially, and there's like, some extra pipes there. They were gonna put an extra sink there, the previous homeowners. I'm gonna remove those in the future because I don't want a sink there. But anyway, so essentially there's a lot of plumbing going on over here, and the exterior hose bib was basically right there feeding outside, okay? And I wanted to move it from there to somewhere along here. There's a window over here, so I wanted to move it from there to the other side of the window, okay? A few reasons why I wanted to do that, but very, very, very simple request. Usually would cause no problems at all. But essentially what happened was, we were doing a renovation, we still are doing a renovation, and the contractor, who's actually a good friend of mine, and he has a licensed plumber working for him, that person, along with the contractor, so the licensed plumber and the contractor moved the hose bib from there to over here. Now, there were some pre-existing holes up here where the previous homeowners had ran a couple of pipes and wires. So what they did was they tried to basically do this without creating any additional holes. So they made use of this hole over here that was there before. They essentially did the soldering outside and converted the copper to PEX, and then they fed the PEX inside. And then they grabbed it at this hole over here and fed it into the utility room over there to grab the water supply, okay? And usually that would cause no problems at all. They made sure there was no leaks, and they left for the evening. I came home later that evening, and I came down just quickly. I always come to the basement at night, just make sure everything's okay. I do just a really quick check in the evening, make sure everything's fine before I go to bed, so I can sort of sleep peacefully along with my wife and kids, so I know everybody's safe, everything's fine. And I heard a dripping sound. And I said, what's going on here? So essentially, I came over here and I saw that there used to be these big, long fluorescent light fixtures here, and water was just dripping out of those light fixtures. So I figured, okay, no problem. There's a leak in the new hose bib that they fed. I'll just turn off the water supply with the water shut off that's in there. And when I went in there to turn it off, there was actually water on the floor in there as well, because the actual T, like the joint where it has like a T connecting to the hose bib shut off, was leaking as well. And a third spot was leaking. So 3 spots were leaking, which is very, very rare for that to happen. But you know what? It happened. And it does happen from time to time. So I called up my buddy who's a contractor. Let me turn the camera around so you can see me. I called up my buddy who's a contractor, and I said, listen, we have 3 leaks. One of them I can shut off the shut-off valve, and no problem, we can stop that. But I said the other 2 are behind the shut-off valve. I got to shut off the water supply to the house. At this point, my kids are already in bed. Myself and my wife are awake. He said, no problem. Don't shut off the water supply to the house. I'll be there. I'll take care of it tonight. So he came over late at night, and he decided that he wanted to resolder all of the joints, okay? So basically, we fixed it at that point, and then what we did was we cut out all of the drywall that had been touched. So essentially, this whole ceiling, about, I'd say actually, you could see the joint right there. I believe it was around there, maybe a little bit further, but that's one of the joints right there. But maybe a little bit further, we cut out all of this, all the way down. We cut out all that there. We cut out all this here. We cut out all this here. And luckily for me, over here, I'm not going to reveal too much of what's going on in my house, but over here, there's a laundry room there with a drain, and all the flooring is sloped. All the concrete, at least, is sloped towards that drain. This is a raised subfloor. So essentially, all of the water ended up going in the drain. So the good thing was that there was basically just a little bit of water sitting on here, but it all ended up channeling through the concrete down to the drain over there. So we replaced all the drywall. I vacuumed up all the water. We let fans run in here for like 72 hours. So we knew everything was dry. Anything that was affected was replaced, luckily, okay? Now, how did I benefit from this situation? Well, I'll tell you right now. Like I said before, let me back this up a bit. Hopefully you can see my face because I don't have like a viewfinder on this one. So I'm just trusting the angle of the lens over here. As I said before, there was 2 long fluorescent light fixtures up here, okay? So there's 2 long fluorescent light fixtures up here. Since we were already replacing the drywall, they were recessed, right? That's why I didn't want to replace them, because we would have to cut the drywall out, patch everything up, blah, blah, blah. Since we were already cutting out the drywall on this side over here, we just ended up patching this and replacing it with these modern LED fixtures over here. So that was the first way that we benefited. The second way was this room, because, like, so let me back up here. Like I said, I'm trying not to give you, I guess, too much information, but this room is essentially a storage room in the basement. It's just a big empty room with shelving that we turned into essentially a storage room. Okay, so we have all of our stuff that's like seasonal, so like any holiday stuff over here. This is all kids clothing. My wife and I have 4 kids, okay? So this is all kids clothing. Some of it is already too small, and we're going to pass it on to like my cousins that have had kids and stuff like that. If any of my siblings have any more kids, but a lot of this is clothing that will be used because it is still able to fit my children in the future that my older sister gave to us, my older cousins gave to us, and so forth. So we just have to wash it, and it's already folded and separated into sizes. But this room was a disaster. There was boxes everywhere. There was boxes every which way. The closets were somehow full, okay? And the floor, you could barely walk in here. I basically just had a pathway to the furnace room, to the utility room over there with all the utility stuff, okay? So because I had to remove everything in here, I put it back in a much more organized fashion. Look at this. Look at all this floor space. Look at this. Check this out, okay? Amazing. Look at all this closet space over here. There's so much closet space that I have access to now. And it's crazy because there's more stuff in here now than there was before. And yet I still have a lot more space because I organized it better, okay? I condensed the boxes. I got a lot more bins. I labeled everything, as you can see, okay? So essentially, that was the benefit. In addition to that, the trim was not painted. It was just like, when you buy trim primed, it was just primed. There was a little bit of staining on the walls. It looked like from maybe like a soda can or something. The previous owners had lived here for about close to 40 years, I believe. From when the house was first built, they moved in till we bought it a couple years ago. So it's close to 40 years, which is about the age of the house now, give or take. Okay, so there's all sorts of, different marks on the walls and stuff like that. There was holes all along here and in the closets because they had run some piping and some wiring, right? So I was able to patch all the holes. I was able to repaint all the trim, repaint all the drywall, and look at this, and all the shelving too, all the shelving and all sorts of stuff on it, all sorts of marks that wouldn't come out. I was able to repaint everything, and now we have a beautiful space. So the idea here is very simple. If you're in a situation that you think is a losing situation, right? Turn it into a winning situation. That's the life lesson behind this. Do whatever you can to turn it into a winning situation. For myself, it meant that I had to devote many extra hours to the room, but I now have a room that I'm proud of. Instead of just a room that is just there, I have a room that I'm proud of, okay? Now, just, in all fairness, my buddy, the contractor, and his crew, they replaced all the drywall and they painted all the ceiling, right? So because, essentially, because of their leak, they caused a problem with the drywall and the ceiling. So they painted the ceiling for me. They replaced all the drywall. Although I can do that myself, they caused the issue, and they gladly replaced everything, right? They're absolutely amazing about the whole process. I cannot recommend them highly enough. If you check out on my Instagram deep enough, you'll find pictures of the renovation and you'll see who they are. They're fantastic. And, all of their work is A+ top notch. And if there's ever any issue at all, they fix it without even asking. Things like this happen, right? It's part of doing a renovation. Every time you take 5 steps up, you're going to take 1 step down. That's just how it works. Sometimes you open up a wall and you find stuff you didn't expect there, right? This stuff happens. And when it happens, you hope that your contractor will live up to the expectation and take care of it. So like I said, I ended up painting all the trim. I ended up painting the walls and the shelving, and it just looks absolutely gorgeous now. It's a room that I'm proud of. I can actually walk through this, check this out. There's so much space here. It's unbelievable. So yeah, that's essentially it. you're getting, I guess, a mini tour now of the basement. I will actually one day, I feel like this is going to be requested. Let me know if you want this video down below as a comment. I'm going to go through and I'll get my wife to hold the camera so I can be in front of it. And I'll have her follow me around the entire room and show you how I organize all of this stuff. Because literally, this is all clothing. Okay, all of this whole section is clothing. This whole section is seasonal stuff and stuff that we're not going to use that often. Like wedding memories, we go through once a year on our anniversary and stuff like that. Okay, my wife's like old purses that she's probably never going to use, but she wants to keep. Halloween costumes, blah, blah, blah. This stuff is the stuff that either needs to be filed away, like Christmas stuff, blah, blah, blah. Anyways, I'm not going to go there. This is stuff that we're going to be using in the near future. This is stuff that gets used sometimes in the year. As you can see, ice hockey stuff, swimming stuff, blah, 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 right? We got wrapping paper, gift bags, blah, blah, blah. Anyways, I'm not going to do a tour now. I got a little bit overboard with this, but I want to do a tour of the storage room. So I figured that I would sort of show you what happened, tell you about what happened, and tell you how you can benefit from being in a situation like this. So that's it. Turn any loss into a win. That's the life lesson behind this video message. And that's it. If you like this video, please be sure to give it a thumbs up. Let me know what you think down below as a comment. And of course, be sure to subscribe for more great videos just like this one. And that's all I have for you today. Thanks for watching.